Yo, what up, what up? No. Yo, what's up, guys? How's everything going? It's Drew over at Future Strategy Gaming, and today we're coming at you with another video reacting to some of Bellular's contents. If you're not familiar with Bellular, I've said it before, he is a WoW content creator who does a fantastic job with the lore side of things, and now he's dipping his toes into the Final Fantasy realm. So it's really cool to see someone who, much like myself, has experience in both MMOs and is able to kind of see the good and the bad of both sides from both games. So it's nice to have somebody else have a similar mindset. So two quick videos. I don't think either of these are longer than 7.5 minutes. So let's just get to it and see what we got. The first one is going to be a comparison of WoW versus Final Fantasy XIV, story versus gameplay. Let's see what happens.
I mean, actually, there's a lot here, like in the supers, you know, equip basic sword say, recommend playing everything you said. As well.
Yep, no, we got to restart. Oh, God. Sorry.
I mean, actually, there's a lot here, like in the supers, you know, equip basic sword say, recommend playing a Dark Knight as well. It's got a story
Great class.
Amazing.
It's really good.
Which, again, knowing that, like, I can just swap over to that on my character, that's really cool. Aogard saying, in WoW, I feel like the game actively is wasting my time with systems. In FF, I'm constantly making progress and things. Nothing gets tossed away. I think that's a humongous thing for how people feel in WoW right now, where
it's definitely one of those.
Sometimes the systems can feel like content elongation systems. From a lot of what I understand in FF, it is just do the content, then you're done, and you can leave if you want.
Yeah.
Hopefully come back in the next patch.
They're very okay with that.
I'm certainly more okay with that than, yes, sometimes in WoW. I mean, look, people could maybe think back to the time last week where I almost exploded on stream because of the randomness on the conduit upgrade system and how disrespectful that is of players' time. Maybe seems like FF doesn't do that sort of thing.
It is definitely disrespectful of your time in some ways.
Okay, right.
But primarily it is just going, it's your time, do what you want.
For the most part,
yeah. Ruin your life. If you really feel like it.
Okay.
Like,
by all
is
means,
that through game design that feels player adversarial? Like it is with WoW, like with a corruption vendor?
Right.
You know, random rotation?
It's a good word for that, adversarial.
No examples that I can think of.
Okay.
It's just a case of there's rewards at the end of extremely long sticks.
Yeah.
And maybe the content's not always new and exciting as you do those.
Gotcha.
Maybe you are doing old shit, or you're doing something that's maybe not super engaging. You're grinding something.
Yeah.
Like I still haven't went to get my relic weapon. I'm kind of terrified.
Same. There's a lot going on.
Yep.
Nino says,
worth it though, and I'm going to be doing it.
I think both games offer something different. Some people don't want to sit through hours of story. Yeah. I think if you are a MDI competitor or competitive Mythic Raider,
it's not going to be worth it.
Unless you also want to play a JRPG at the same time, it seems like FF is just not for you.
Yep.
Like I
agree completely.
From what I understand of this game, I could not fathom a dedicated Mythic Plus player playing FF in the way that they play WoW.
Can't
at all.
There's no system like that.
There's room for playing a lot of endgame content in one sitting.
Yes.
But there's not the same kind of feeling overall.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like the texture of the content sort of.
Yeah, no, I can't imagine that ever happening.
Texture
I wouldn't
of the
recommend
content.
it because I feel like there would be too many people who are like almost against the story. Not FF specifically, but
just the story in general.
I want to play World of Warcraft because I want to get into the
Raid and Mythic
content.
Plus.
Yeah, I want to play it like it's Destiny, maybe.
Yeah, and that kind of you could do it, but I would never recommend it to anyone because like it's
not that type of game.
Analogy yet. It's like offering someone incredible food. Like, here is the tastiest bread you've ever had in your life, and it comes with you also like the say ham sandwich. You really love ham. Here's the best bread of your life with some really good ham.
What the fuck is this guy talking about?
Bread kills me. And you're like, well, all right then. It's just that case of there's no point. They'll just take the bread off, throw it away.
Yeah.
Like,
I have no fucking idea what this guy's talking about.
That's the best bread ever made. You can't. That will happen to people, I think. And fair.
Different games. That's the strength of both. I think that they're different.
Right, exactly. They're each unique in that own right.
That he loves how balanced all the classes and jobs are. That's interesting. I have no idea about balance or endgame in this game.
Yeah, it's not perfect. Not perfect, but I haven't seen too much about it. No one,
I think the big thing there is the balance as far as output goes. Everyone feels like they're doing similar damage. Even if some comes out on top, obviously we know Black Mage is typically up there. Ninja also happens to get up there a lot. It's realistically, balance is great because there's less classes. You're also taking less to the raid, so each of them need to have their own strength when it comes to final. In WoW, the problem is there's always been this seemingly unbalance of everything. 3 to 5 classes will accelerate to the top, 3 to 5 classes will sit in that middle, and then 3 to 5 classes will sit at the bottom. And it feels like they make such drastic changes to try to like level that out, and in reality they just further dip the scale and just change seating essentially. And it's not something that they're strong suit. There's never been WoW can't be balanced. Unfortunately, I just don't ever see it possible. There's never been a time where every spec does okay, and that's fine if at some point every spec at least has an attempt to get you to a competent level of output in whatever capacity role you're playing.
no one's cried at me for playing a bard yet.
Right.
Even though they don't.
That's a support
And
DPS.
Chris Ward has said Yoshi P once told a player that claimed to be burnt out to take a break
To
and
go
play
somewhere,
other
yeah.
games to find that spark again.
Mhm.
Blizzard would never. Generally, I think Blizzard would never. Lore did say that in the context of streamers getting burnt out only
Yes.
playing WoW.
That's a little
so
different.
Fair enough lore in that one.
Yeah.
But to a degree, yeah, I feel like Blizzard are. They're very official in their stances, and I feel like they struggle to sort of engage with the player base sometimes.
Yes, they could struggle at that for sure.
Oh man, yeah. Jared Randall says there is something to be said for variety, though. In FF14, every class and every item is face value. There's almost zero variety. That's my problem.
Definitely a lack of variety in a couple of ways.
Sure.
Okay, right.
Yeah.
Where it is very much here you go, here's your job. I hope you like it. It's never get this item and your rotation changes.
Right.
Or here's an item that does anything really
Yeah.
interesting.
It's just power
always
gains instead of
here's an item that
changes
gives
to
you
the actual thing.
237 dexterity. That makes your numbers bigger. It looks really cool, maybe. Or maybe it looks terrible and you want to use something cool and glamour over it.
Right.
But I will agree, it is massively face value.
And that's the thing. In Final, it's exactly that. It's like these are the statistics you're going to get on this particular item. That's just what it's going to be. And then, you can take it a step further with materia. But whereas in WoW, there are trinkets in the game, sometimes even weapons, that can potentially change how you play the game. I know I experienced that on a mage last expansion with Asharo's Fonts of Power. So it's just, that's the variance between the two. And that's also something that makes it a little bit easier to balance. Going back to the previous statement, if you don't have these wild variances based on trinkets popping off or, get a Q coming out with a bleed effect, things completely change in that regard. Whereas, outside of percentage-based numbers, there's really not much variance that's going to come from Final, which is, there's something nice about that in a way, but I could see the negative as well for some flavor.
No, like the fact that there's no idea of anything like a talent or anything like that is literally, here you go, enjoy.
Yeah.
It's
kind of wild, actually, yeah.
It is almost like an extremely good buffet where they're like, here's lots of delicious things, go for it, and you're like, can I have anything different? No, no. This is the set menus, not like here's everything in linear order, but here's the set menus. You're like, okay.
I guess it's ballsy. It's the sort of thing. There's obvious downsides, but I
Yeah.
guess they're able to reap the upsides of making a decision like that.
Right.
We've got Isel
Works.
Fulm saying, I know you're playing WoW music in the background. One day you should play something from FF14 so people can hear. From what I've heard of the Britannia soundtrack, it's lovely.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm sure that would work, and yeah, it'll be a fun little thing to do.
It's
whenever
been
we
like
get into
6
an FF
days
segment.
between videos. This dude
Desperately
must be
wanted to
so
do the
strapped
stream
for
with
time.
Dark Waters, but we didn't have time today.
Oh man. Yeah. JW says 14
more
doesn't
minute.
have required side content like corruptions, HOA,
Right.
soulbinds. Side stuff is side stuff and mostly for cosmetic rewards and not player power.
Yep.
Seems good to me.
Yep.
Because it's like, corruptions, Heart of Azeroth, and Soulbinds.
Mm.
That's like not content that I've done because I've enjoyed it.
It's
or
because you
I
have
wanted
to do it.
But like, if Soulbinds had nothing to do with my character, like per se, in terms of like core endgame stuff, but it was like I get to go on a whole bunch of personal quest lines with
That's
these
what I thought
characters
would have
throughout
been
this entire
really cool.
expansion,
Yeah.
and I get some cool, rewards. I'd be so much more. that's a version of Soulbinds that I'm excited about
Yeah.
because it's about like the world and the fantasy.
That should have
and all
been
of
in
that
the
stuff.
beginning, though.
And I say
There's
that
no reason
thinking
it
that
shouldn't have
Ragers would
been.
also prefer that and Mythic Plusers because they don't seem to like those systems as player power systems.
As power
So
systems,
it's like,
yeah.
I agree that the fantasy is cool,
Right.
but maybe just not the way that it's being particularly implemented. So yeah,
Should have
man,
been.
wow, lots of FF stuff.
I'm big on sprinkles. Looks like this video's over. I'm real big on sprinkles where I want stuff to go on top of the sundae, but I don't need it to change the flavor or reinvent the wheel. And it just feels like sometimes that kind of happens with a lot of these systems. Like they could have just made soul binds the way that they did, cosmetically stuff instead of player power, and then they just gated so much to put out longevity, which to me as a player just goes, they don't have anything to put out content wise. Like it's just not ready, and that happens. I get COVID. I'm not saying that didn't happen, but it's like, how did other games manage to keep up? And a game that has the cash flow that this game does because of how large of the corporation it is, just has no idea how to do it. They need to hire some peeps, man. All right, let's get into the next video. So this next one is going to be WoW versus 14, bosses, combat visuals, and rewards. So this directly ties into the last one we were watching, so I felt like it was a good time. Quick video too, just looks like 6 minutes.
There's one here. It's more of a mechanical one, but it's from Varlies. I'm trying. I'm going to say Dragon Song, who says, Matt, remember to explain to people that boss abilities register a hit when the projectile vanishes, and not when the animation plays.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's the thing. The game is very split on the what actually happens and what you see layer.
Okay.
On an animation sense, where as soon as a telegraph marker's gone, you can step back in. It's fine.
Yeah.
It's a little bit jarring to like walk out of an orange box and then walk in and then feel like this big swipe or this big
that's
boss
coming.
But once you get used to it, it's just the gameplay actually feels good.
Yeah.
Because you're not going, oh shit, when can I go in? When can I go in?
Right.
And it gives them a lot more freedom.
There's a visual marker to tell you, now we can go.
And it looks incredible. And you're standing in the middle of it, but
I have noticed like it was Caden sent me like footage of a boss fight.
Do you remember which one, Dol?
Oh, no, it was one of the newer ones. Basically, he sent me this boss fight and was like, hey, like, dude, this is how cool these new boss fights look. And like visually, it was a complete feast. Even though it was just a circular room boss fight.
Yeah.
I've noticed that like a lot of the animations and stuff they actually feel quite good, like the spell effects. They're really like.
In what way?
They are almost too much sometimes.
Yeah.
I like them.
definitely.
They're not going as far as Guild Wars 2 thus far, because Guild Wars 2 to me always just looked
so
visually
over the
cluttered.
top. Yeah.
Because they had
This
super
does
high
too, at
detail
time.
animations that were very, very, very up in your face, and that was like a little bit challenging to me.
Yeah.
So far, I like the balance in FF, I guess.
That's because he hasn't done a lot of group
other
content.
FF supers.
I mean, if he's still at level
Guard.
19.
One thing I love about FF,
Where
rewards that
you don't
aren't
have an
just pets and mounts.
team.
Accessories have appearances, music rolls, emotes, hairstyles are earnable too. Like, that's really cool.
The music roll one is really, really insane when you consider that you can have an orchestrion set up in an FC house that will play music when you walk in.
Right.
And do you know what the annoying thing is? WoW has that.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's just not the same way.
In your garrison,
Yep.
in Warlords of Draenor.
Where no one wants to
Designed that
go.
feature and then it went in the bin.
Yep,
So, imagine if that was a feature that actually carried on, that was not a single expansion feature, where Blizzard could scatter
It's
these
just a
music
sprinkle.
rolls about the
Like
place.
I'm saying,
That would
it's
be
just
another
that
way
little
to
sprinkle on
reward
top.
people. So that is interesting to me.
there's-
Keith says, what are the small moments in FF that have made you smile? That's what he asked me. And I'd say it was actually when the dots connected in the Gridania storyline and it all sort of clicked and fit together. And then I realized how it was probably foreshadowing really quite large things.
Yes.
It was that comboed with like it feeling like the game kind of respected the little
Need to get
journey
my
that my
glasses.
character went through. Whenever I'd finish that storyline, go back to Gridania City, and I'm booped off on the airship.
Yeah.
And that just all felt like a nice little self-contained story.
Yep.
Which is exciting to me because I mean, that's ARR. That's the bad stuff. I think the difference is just that unlike people playing ARR in the past, I experienced it with no filler.
Yeah.
Because I could just go straight through it, and that's why it worked so well.
So there's actually 2 levels where there's no filler. One is that XP gained is now generally strong enough that you don't have to do a bunch of side quests, whereas you kind of did in the past. But also, there's 30% of ARR gone.
That's probably pretty big too.
Yeah.
Entire stuff that was the least important has just been cut.
Yeah, Stuart Piercy says a lot of why FF feels so good is that the ship. Oh, Yoshi has had his finger firmly in the pulse of players since day one. Takes into account what we think.
Yeah.
Not
It's
day
an extremely
one, but
player-facing
yeah.
game from everything I can gather, especially
His day one.
watching the No Clip documentary on how A Realm Reborn actually came to be.
Yeah.
It very much does seem like it is that way.
Yoshi Piece is like, I've played MMOs since I was born. Let me show you how it's done.
Yeah.
And now it's so important that I imagine if a Square executive comes up and goes, Yoshi P, we don't really have the money in the budget for what you're asking for FF14. He just turns around and goes, who are you talking to?
He doesn't have that
need
kind
it?
of
Our
attitude.
players need it. They'll be like, sorry. I mean, he is producing FF16.
16, yeah.
Did with the help of everyone who worked underneath him, save FF's franchise.
Man, we've got Kazakh who says the only thing keeping me from switching from WoW to FF14 is the lack of dev support in PvP. Stormblood
Sure.
really PvP.
You'll-
Frontlines is all there is. That's what I've heard.
Absolutely.
Basically, if you like PvP,
Don't play
FF's
this
a
game.
non-starter.
Yeah, don't play this game.
Maybe Endwalker will solve that. I'm not entirely sure.
I don't
But,
think so.
Yeah.
They don't want to focus on that. They're totally okay not excelling at that. It's there. It provides that and just happens to be something you can do, and that's fine. You don't have to be good at that. Guild Wars 2 does a good job. WoW in some circles, depending on what you like to do, does a good job. There's a couple other games coming out soon that will do similar stuff. Final does not need to go down that route and overly improve a system that unfortunately just isn't their strong suit.
That's exactly it.
Put that money that you would do into PvP and make Blitzball in game, please.
There's one from Varlitstra Dragon Song who says, me and WoW. Yeah, I guess I'm this god tier shaman. Me and FF. I am Vari, the Mikute, that asks Palikos, who I'm assuming I will know eventually.
Palicos
Cats.
are a little cat race.
Oh,
Yeah.
all right. So yeah, you're a cat girl
Palicos.
asking the cat race if they are just a talking cat.
Yep.
This is my story, and I hate/love these people. Also, I dance with my enemies.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess that's just if that's kind of like some
That's
of the
weird.
fantasy you want. It's gonna
Yeah.
feel
Also,
more.
dancers are a really fun job to play.
Yeah, really cool
Dancer,
job.
Really
I
fun.
saw a video of
It's
Dancer
badass.
gameplay and it was kind of like, okay.
If it did
I
more
thought that
damage,
would
it'd be
a little lame.
crazy
that's
more
really
popular,
cool.
but
really, really cool.
It's
Dancers
badass.
cool. Red Mage is incredible.
I can't get it. I don't
Oh, man, I
understand.
want to talk about mechanics for so long.
Oh my
Because
God.
they're also
So confused.
Absolutely sound like.
It's like stressful to play Red Mage right now. Okay, real quick. So that was a quick video. Didn't really compare as much as I honestly thought they were going to. There's some stuff they definitely talked about, like combat visuals being a big deal. And just kind of the boss design being a little bit different in how mechanics display. I mean, again, the fights are mostly scripted within Final, whereas in World of Warcraft, there's a script to it that it's supposed to follow, but there is some RNG to it, and that's the difference. It doesn't make one better than the other. I think both of them are really exceptional in their own right. So, all right, nice and quick, super easy. Appreciate you coming and giving me your time today. If you liked the video, make sure you hit like right down below. If you want to see more of this content, make sure you hit subscribe. We appreciate you. Thank you so much. Happy Floral Friday. Take care. Peace.